And there's another quality that I believe attracts a lot of really serious players, these concert artists that are, recording and performing on these things everywhere. And that is that it has this very loud, responsive sound, but it doesn't break up when you push it. So when I'm really pushing into it, it's not telling me to pull back. And what I mean is the tone is still really, really nice when I'm pushing it like this. Hello and welcome to the Guitar Collection. It is an honor today to have in yet another instrument built for guitarcollection.com by the American luthier Stephan Connor. Of course, Stephan Connor's instruments are played by so many of the most famous guitarists in the world, the Assad brothers, Marco Tamayo, Elliot Fisk. I mean the names go on, not just with very well-established players, but young artists as well are choosing his guitars for so many different reasons, which I think you'll be able to see why by the end of this video if you're not already familiar. But this is a very special guitar. This is a Spruce cedar Doubletop of his, and the bracing underneath is actually a lattice bracing. Now, for those that don't know, Steve Connor's guitars for a very long period of time have mostly been lattice brace guitars. And in the past, 5 to 7 years, something like this, I could be off by a little bit, he's been building more Doubletop guitars. And some of the ones that I've seen of his have been different bracing patterns inside, whether it's fan brace or something unique. This is the first one that I've had in my shop, I believe at least, that is a Doubletop, but also with his lattice bracing underneath, which I think is making for a really great combination. And it's a Spruce cedar Doubletop. And I am venturing to say this is the most powerful Steve Connor guitar that I have played. And we'll get to some of the specs here in a second, but this is also 640 millimeter scale. So not only is it the most powerful, but it's also a very comfortable scale length, being 10 millimeters shorter than the typical. But wow, there's a lot to cover with this guitar. There is a lot of features. Let's start off with just talking about the top. Again, it is a Spruce Doubletop. You will see Steve's classic rosette here, which I think is so beautiful. It's one type of rosette you get closer to and you notice more details. It really pops in the photos that I have at guitarcollection.com that I think you're seeing on the screen as well. So yes, there's this really beautiful green and tan black rosette here. And something that's missing from the sound hole that actually came with the guitar is actually this removable tornavoz, which I may or may not get to putting inside of the guitar here in a moment, but this effectively lowers the main body resonance of the guitar and creates a really deep, awesome sound for stuff like Spanish music. And but anyways, we'll get to that later. You'll see, of course, Stephan Connor, constructor, the year 2025 there on the label. You'll see a little extra C note here. And down at the bridge, you'll see this wooden tie block and then a bone saddle, but also included with this guitar is a wooden saddle, which I was quite fond of on the last guitar that he built for my shop. I have not even tried it on this one yet, but this is actually made from, I believe, Sonoran ironwood, which is harder than bone. So very, very interesting. I meant to mention that this is his number, let me refresh myself, number 529 with the name Mana. Really a beautiful looking guitar. I mean, the finish that he does is just spectacular. You have this armrest here, very, very sleek. I like how it tapers away towards the sides. And of course, you'll notice this, what I believe to be a flamed maple binding here, a very simple purfling with 2 lines. And then the side of the guitar, you will notice, has this soundport, which is something that Steve Connor's really become known for. This soundport, which is also magnetic with this, I mean, it's a fairly large soundport, has this magnetic cover that you can adjust to have open or closed however much you want. And I think it's very handy. I was just playing with it open, and I do typically like it somewhat open. Sometimes I'll have it just a little bit open, and you actually hear a little bit more open of a sound. It might be also a little bit louder, which is very interesting. Now, Steve tells me that he chose a beautiful old set of Brazilian rosewood on this guitar, and I love this simple aesthetic. It's so nice. It's not really super flashy or anything like that. It's very, very straight, uniform, and gorgeous. You can see it on the sides of the guitar as well. It just fits so well with the style that I like on a guitar, and I like how this little maple binding peaks around the side of the guitar as well. Now, when it comes to the neck, he has had, maybe more than anyone, the feedback of so many great guitar players that come through his shop. In fact, there's videos all over the place of Elliot Fisk coming to his shop, playing his guitars. I think he plays all of them that come in. I mean, I'm exaggerating. Steve builds a lot of guitars, but he has all these amazing players constantly coming in telling him, oh, you know, I'm not really sure if this is comfortable. And it's ended up with now, 529 guitars later to really perfect feeling necks. I've got no notes for him. This thing feels amazing. One interesting thing that he does is he makes the fingerboard just a little bit wider on this side so that you never have risk of slipping off the fingerboard on that first string, which happens when we're doing pull-offs. So it's very C-shaped, very thin. This one has dots on 5, 7, and 12. And then to top it off, he put these top-of-the-line Scheller tuners, no engraving, white rollers here, and of course on the head of the guitar you can see his normal head shape, which I quite like, and then a veneer of Brazilian rosewood. Classy all around. This guitar is just beautiful. I even love the shape of the bridge here. I like that it's a little bit different than the traditional rosewood bridge that you would see in the shape and also the way it's carved. Really, really nice. But let's get into the sound. I already said that this is the most powerful Stephan Connor guitar that I have played, and I stand behind that. Listen to how deep and roaring these basses are. Hopefully you can tell through the microphones as well. Really feels quite supercharged, and you hear some of the qualities of this spruce top. It's really nice and bright and chimey in the trebles, but when you want it to be sweet and dark, it's all there. And these basses are so huge and open. I think the soundport assists with this. Maybe if I close the port, it's a little bit less open. Although I still feel that growl of the bass that I like so much. You know, if I do something like still sounds so great, but I have to admit, I like it better open. Listen to this. Now, with a guitar this powerful, you're almost assured to have super short notes somewhere, and I have to say this is not the case with this guitar. In fact, this is one of the most freeing guitars in terms of sustain that I've come across in recent days. In fact, I want to play a little piece here by Sagreras titled Luisa, where I think you'll hear some of the the freedom that I feel in the sustain on this guitar. Well, if you like a guitar that just absolutely joins you in a chorus of overtones while you're playing, this is the perfect guitar for that. I mean, at every turn, you're met by a friend here. You know, you can check your phone for texts and then finish the phrase. It's that type of guitar. So just listen to me. There's this chorus of beautiful overtones. The harmonics for that A take over for you. See, I'm muting the first string. So this guitar is very, very responsive. And there's another quality that I believe attracts a lot of really serious players. You know, these concert artists that are, recording and performing on these things everywhere. And that is that it has this very loud, responsive sound, but it doesn't break up when you push it. So when I'm really pushing into it, it's not telling me to pull back. And what I mean is the tone is still really, really nice when I'm pushing it like this. And I guess you'd have to be here in person to really see how much I'm pushing this guitar. But it really doesn't mind. That makes it so much fun because you don't feel burdened by the fact that the guitar is so hot and responsive. You know, you feel like it has that really touchy, nice quality to it, but it's not limiting you to like staying with this light little touch. So I think that's really cool. Let's try another couple of musical passages. Maybe now we try a passage with the removable tornavoz in the guitar, which is, by the way, just this little cylinder. looks like a little bit like a cone, but it's barely noticeable. And when you detune the strings, you can get this inside of the guitar and it just kind of lodges itself in there and you'll hear a deeper sound. So maybe I'll play a little bit of Testament de Emilia by Miguel Llobet with no tornavoz and then with tornavoz, and I'll let you decide which you like, and you can leave a comment down below because I'll be very curious. I'm also going to cover the sound port here for both examples so that it's fair and that it can be as deep as possible, since this actually lowers the main ear resonance as well. I'll stop with the nerdy details and cut to the test. Well, I would love to hear what you all notice, but from the player's perspective, without listening back to the recording yet, it feels to me that with the tornavoz in, you just get a little bit of a darker, deeper, old world sound that kind of sounds like a Francisco Simplicio guitar or a Garcia. One of these with a tornavoz, or maybe even an old Torres with tornavoz. You get a little bit more of that character, and certain notes are a little bit more sultry. But I think for a guitar nut like myself, it's really a fun feature to have, because if you get a little bit bored or you want to just try something new, well, maybe you put this in, this removable tornavoz, or maybe you open up the sound port. All really cool. And with the sound port open, it's a little bit less so of that really deep, dark sound, but it's still there. In fact, maybe I'll close this out with a little bit of Capriccio Árabe by Tárrega, still with this tornavoz in. Before I do, I'd like to remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check this guitar out at guitarcollection.com. If you're interested in reserving the next Stephan Connor guitar that comes in, please write an email to me. I'd love to hear from you. I occasionally have a slot open and we can customize it to your spec. Congratulations to Stephan Connor for building this beautiful 529th guitar. My goodness, it's a beautiful one. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.